Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time when your smile becomes your shield and your kindness becomes your silence. When you're always the one who says yes, always the one who understands, always the one who bends, you start forgetting how to stand tall. Today, I want to say something we don't say enough. Stop being too friendly. Not because kindness is a weakness, but because people treat it like it is. You see, we are taught to be soft, to be polite, to never say no. But no one tells us that sometimes in this world, your softness becomes someone else's staircase. And before you know it, people are walking all over you with gratitude in their mouth and manipulation in their hearts. Kindness is a beautiful trait. It reflects the warmth of your soul and the softness of your heart. But kindness, when left without boundaries, turns into self-destruction. It's like giving away pieces of yourself so freely that one day you look in the mirror and realize there's nothing left. No energy, no joy, no clarity. Just a worn-out version of yourself who's too tired to be kind anymore. When you keep giving and giving and giving, people get used to it. They stop seeing it as a gift. They start seeing it as a given. That's the problem with unchecked kindness. It slowly becomes expected rather than appreciated. When you're always available, always saying yes, always putting others before yourself, you may think you're doing the right thing. You may believe you're being a good friend, a good sibling, a good human being. But beneath that surface, there's a quiet storm building inside you. A storm of exhaustion, a storm of neglect, a storm of slowly losing yourself in the name of being nice. It's a dangerous cycle because the world doesn't pause to check if you're okay. People will keep taking from you as long as you keep offering. They won't notice your tired eyes, your fake smile, your delayed replies. They'll just assume you're fine because you always are. You've trained them to believe that you don't have limits, and that's where the pain begins. When you realize that people don't really love you, they love the version of you that serves them. They love your availability, your reliability, your warmth. But do they love your silence, your sadness, your no? Because if the answer is no, then they don't love you. They love the way you make them feel. That's the bitter truth about being too kind. People stop seeing you as a person. You become a service, an emotional support system, a therapist, a punching bag, a free ride. And in all of this, your own needs, emotions, and voice get silenced. Being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. It doesn't mean tolerating disrespect, overextending yourself, or putting your mental health on the back burner. But when you lack boundaries, that's exactly what happens. You start saying yes when you want to say no. You answer calls when you need rest. You agree to meet when your soul is craving solitude. And every time you betray yourself like that, a small piece of you dies. Slowly, quietly, without protest, until one day you wake up and you're completely numb. That's not kindness. That's self-abandonment. People-pleasing often hides behind the mask of kindness, but at its core, it's fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. So you overcompensate with friendliness, availability, and sacrifice. You become what everyone needs you to be just so they won't leave. But in doing so, you leave yourself. That's the cost of kindness without boundaries. You become a stranger to your own soul. Real kindness is rooted in strength, not fear. It knows when to give and it knows when to step back. It knows that love isn't proven by self-neglect. It knows that being honest is kinder than being agreeable. It knows that saying, I can, is sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others. Because when your cup is empty, you have nothing to pour. When your spirit is crushed, your smile becomes a lie. When your body is tired, your yes becomes a betrayal. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It's a sign that you've been over-functioning for too long, that you've been holding it together for everyone else while falling apart inside, that you've made yourself responsible for emotions, problems, and needs that were never yours to carry in the first place. And eventually your body will force you to rest, your heart will demand boundaries, your mind will shut down, because there's only so long you can run on empty. Kindness is beautiful when it's given from a full heart, not a depleted one. When it's a choice, not a compulsion. When it's mutual, not one-sided. You're not here to fix everyone. You're not here to absorb everyone's chaos. You're not here to make sure no one is ever disappointed. You are here to live your truth, protect your peace, and be kind with wisdom. Saying no is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself, yet it's often the hardest. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that refusing someone is rude, selfish, or unkind. We learned to associate no with guilt, with fear, with losing people. So we shrink ourselves. We silence that inner voice that wants to resist. We nod even when our gut is screaming. And all for what? To be liked, to be accepted, to avoid confrontation. In doing so, we trade our self-respect for approval, and that's a dangerous deal. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you are teaching people that your time, your energy, your priorities are negotiable. You are signaling that your own needs come second, maybe even third. And once you create that pattern, breaking it feels like rebellion, but it's not rebellion, it's realignment. It's remembering that your first duty is to your own peace. Respect isn't just about how others treat you, it's about how you allow yourself to be treated. And when you keep saying yes out of fear, you are not being polite, you are being dishonest. Dishonest with them, but more importantly, dishonest with yourself. The word no holds boundaries. It builds fences where your sanity lives. It protects your time from being hijacked by someone else's priority. It gives you the space to breathe, to think, to rest, to simply exist without feeling like you're being pulled in every direction. And yet we hesitate. We stutter. We say things like, I'll try, or maybe, or I'm not sure, just to delay the discomfort of disappointing someone. But discomfort is temporary. Disrespect, once invited, sticks around like a bad stain. It seeps into your relationships, your work, your mental health, until you're barely holding on. There's something sacred about honoring your own limits. There's dignity in saying, I can't do this right now, or I need time for myself, or this doesn't work for me. These are not acts of selfishness. These are acts of self-trust. Because when you say no, you are choosing yourself. And that's not arrogance, that's alignment. That's knowing your worth. That's walking in your own truth even when it's uncomfortable. The people who truly value you will respect your no. The ones who don't were never really in your corner to begin with. If your refusal makes someone walk away, let them. If your honesty makes someone uncomfortable, let it. Your job is not to soften your truth just to keep someone around. Your job is to show up in your own life as the most authentic, grounded version of yourself, and that version knows when to draw the line. Saying no doesn't mean you're harsh. It means you're human. You're not a machine. You don't owe everyone access to your time and energy just because they ask for it. You're allowed to choose, you're allowed to prioritize, you're allowed to say no without having to explain or justify. Your boundaries are not up for debate. They are not subject to negotiation. They are there to protect the parts of you that often go unseen. Your energy, your focus, your emotional balance. There's this idea that saying yes makes us like likable, and saying no makes us difficult. But what's truly difficult is living a life where your yes is always given at the cost of your own needs. That's not generosity. That's self-erasure. That's you becoming invisible in the name of being accepted. And if acceptance requires you to ignore your own voice, then it's not real acceptance at all. It's performance. Learning to say no is learning to love yourself without apology. It's choosing peace over people-pleasing. It's realizing that every time you honor your own needs, you become stronger, clearer, more grounded. It's building a life where your yes means something because you only give it when it's real, not when it's forced. And when your yes is rooted in truth, not fear, it becomes a gift, not an obligation. Stop overextending for people who won't do the same. That's not love. That's not loyalty. That's not friendship. That's self-betrayal wearing a pretty face. It's you convincing yourself that if you just give a little more, care a little harder, show up a little better, maybe they'll finally see your worth. But they won't. Because the ones who choose not to match your energy never planned to. They enjoy the imbalance. They thrive on the convenience of you doing the heavy lifting while they rest in the comfort of your effort. And you, with your wide open heart, keep pouring into cracked vessels, hoping they'll learn to hold you one day. They won't. There's a strange kind of exhaustion that comes from always being the one who gives more. It's not physical. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It eats away at your confidence. It makes you second-guess your value. It turns you into a person who starts expecting less, asking for less, needing less, just to avoid feeling like too much. You start telling yourself stories to make sense of the silence. Maybe they're busy, maybe they forgot, maybe it's your fault, but deep down you know they just don't care the way you do. They don't feel the need to meet you halfway because you've already crossed the whole distance for them. Relationships in any form are supposed to be reciprocal, not 50-50 all the time, but at least a genuine effort from both sides. If you're the one always checking in, always making plans, always holding space, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a one-person performance, and the worst part is the audience isn't even clapping. They're scrolling, they're distracted, they're somewhere else emotionally, while you're emotionally bankrupt from trying to keep things alive. Love isn't proven through exhaustion. Loyalty isn't proven through silence. And real connection doesn't leave you feeling invisible. You weren't born to be anyone's emotional crutch, their fallback option, or their therapist on call. You are not required to fix people who have no intention of fixing themselves. You are not here to carry relationships that limp because the other person refuses to walk. You are not obligated to prove your worth by giving more than you receive. That's not generosity. That's desperation, dressed up as devotion. And it's not your job to convince anyone of your value. That's a battle you were never meant to fight. People will treat you based on what you tolerate if you keep showing up for those who leave you on red, if you keep answering calls from people who only dial when they need something, if you keep extending your heart to those who treat it like an afterthought. You are teaching them that this is okay, that this is enough, that your love comes with no requirements, no accountability, no expectation of return. And that is how resentment begins. Quietly, slowly. It creeps in while you're smiling, while you're saying it's okay, while you're pretending it doesn't hurt. But it does hurt. It hurts to feel like you're not enough. even when you're giving everything. It hurts to watch people you care about act like your presence is optional. It hurts to give your best and still feel like a backup plan. That pain deserves honesty, not sugarcoating, not excuses, not another attempt to fix what clearly isn't mutual. You can love people and still walk away. You can forgive them and still choose distance. You can miss them and still know that they don't belong in the next chapter of your life. Self-respect is knowing when to stop watering a dead plant. Energy is currency. Attention is investment. Time is non-refundable. Spend them wisely. If someone isn't willing to match your effort, your presence, your intention, believe them. Don't overcompensate. Don't double down. Don't exhaust yourself trying to make someone see what's already clear. They're not showing up because they don't want to. And that's their right, but it's also your right to stop showing up for those who leave you empty. You're not hard to love. You're not too much. You're not the problem just because someone else failed to appreciate your presence. Some people just don't have the capacity to love the way you love. And that's not your burden to carry. Your worth isn't tied to someone else's ability to recognize it. Stop overextending for people who make you feel like a chore. You were never meant to audition for the role of someone's priority. Either you are or you aren't. Protect your peace like it's your greatest asset, because it is. In a world that thrives on noise, chaos, drama, and distraction, your inner calm is gold. Your peace isn't just a mood. It's not some vague state of feeling okay. It's your baseline. It's the space where clarity lives, where your thoughts make sense, where your emotions can breathe without collapsing. Without peace, you're just reacting, just surviving, just spinning in circles, pulled by every little demand, every little message, every little drama that knocks on your door. And peace doesn't scream for attention. It quietly disappears the moment you start choosing everything else over it. There will always be something begging to steal your calm. People with their constant emergencies, social media with its never-ending scroll of curated lives, expectations, guilt trips, comparisons, fake obligations, all of it comes dressed as urgent. But just because something is loud doesn't mean it deserves your attention. Just because someone insists you must respond doesn't mean you're required to reply. Protecting your peace means learning to say, not right now, and sometimes not ever. It means filtering what and who enters your mental space like you're guarding a sacred temple, because you are. When you don't guard your peace, you start feeling like your life isn't your own. You wake up already behind, already anxious, already heavy. You start your day with a to-do list that isn't even yours. Messages to answer, opinions to consider, energies to absorb. You move through your hours reacting instead of deciding. Everyone gets a piece of you.